Good day and welcome back to Iran Daily Newsfeed. O Cyrus the Great, Shahanshah, sleep in peace, for we are awake and we will always be awake to guard your glorious heritage. We swear that we will continue to raise and wave the flag that you raised 2,500 years ago. These are the words that the late Emperor Mohammad Reza Pahlavi delivered in a speech at the tomb of Cyrus the Great, which shows how much His Majesty of Iran, who was the heir to the throne for 2,500 years, paid attention to the behavior of his crowned ancestors and followed their example. Perhaps that is why we can see justice, patriotism, philanthropy, compassion, respect for human rights, love of service, and the progress of the country in both shahs. Today is the birthday of Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great was the founder and first king of the Achaemenid Empire, which ruled over large areas of Asia for more than 200 years. The Charter of Cyrus, now housed in the British Museum, is a universal charter for freedom and human rights, and is the first and the oldest declaration of human rights that is part of the identity and Iranian civilization. The cylinder is a document of the pacifism of an ancient nation that depicts the peaceful coexistence and respect for the beliefs and ideas of others. Unlike other rulers after the victory and conquest of Babylon, Cyrus not only did not plunder, he gave freedom to its people and began to build that country. He states, "My great army entered the city of Babylon slowly. I did not let suffering to fall upon the people of the city and land. The internal situation of Babylon and its holy places shook my heart. I tried for peace. Nebuchadnezzar had enslaved the helpless people of Babylon, something they did not deserve. I abolished slavery. I put an end to their misery. I commanded that all people should be free to worship their God and not to be unjust to them. I ordered that no one lay a finger on the people of the city. I ordered that all the places of worship that were closed to be opened. I will restore all the gods of these places of worship. I will return all the people who were scattered and displaced across the lands. I built their ruined houses, undoubtedly, in the aspiration of construction. All the people of Babylon honored the king, and I provided a peaceful society for all the people, and I granted peace and tranquility to all the people." Also, the release of the Jews captured by Nebuchadnezzar II, king of Babylon, in 586 BC after the conquest of Jerusalem, and to help the captives return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temples, is an example of peaceful conduct. Cyrus was a pacifist during this period. The factor that led to this milestone becoming a great charter for freedom and justice and many of the basic principles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 1948, including freedom of thought, respect for the rights of human beings of all colors, races, and beliefs and faith, no looting, killing, destruction, captivity, coercion, also ordering the reconstruction of the damage caused by the war and even the destruction before the arrival of Persians. The plaque was so important that UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon cited the Cyrus Cylinder as the first human rights declaration, and in 1971 the United Nations published a copy of the charter in 6 official languages. It was placed at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. In this regard, Prince Reza Pahlavi has issued the following statement on the event of Cyrus the Great. "My fellow countrymen, we are on the eve of the 29th of October, the day of Cyrus the Great, an empire that proclaimed dignity, greatness, peaceful coexistence, and tolerance, and more than 2,500 years ago recognized the freedom of belief and religion and upheld human dignity. Commemorating the memory of Cyrus not only reminds us of the good civic and moral qualities of Iranians, but also helps us know how we, as Iranians, want an Iran, a proud, united Iran composed of different ethnicities, religions and beliefs, and of course adorned to the praiseworthy features of modern times such as democracy and secularism. Today, Cyrus the Great, as the great Shahanshah who brought pride to Iran, is also the inspiration for overcoming the current destruction. To get rid of this anti-Iranian regime, which from day one has sought to replace the Islamic Ummah with the Iranian nation and has achieved nothing but misery and humiliation for Iran and Iranians. More than ever, we need to remember what Cyrus was and did. And it is not without reason that in recent years the intelligent and brave youth of Iran have turned the 29th of October into one of the days of resistance against the corrupt and criminal regime of the Islamic Republic. Corruption and crime became more apparent 2 years ago in November 2019 and killed thousands of Iranians. On this basis, I call on all of you compatriots to try to show the world the image of a united, freedom-loving and tolerant nation in any way and wherever you are by commemorating the name and the memory of Cyrus the Great. Each of you tries to represent the great and historical Iran. The world should not know Iran based on the ugliness of the criminal sect of the Islamic Republic. Iran is the land of Iranians, not the criminals who have nothing to do with the history and culture of Iran and are afraid of the name of Cyrus and his tomb. In the hope of liberation and pride, Payande Iran. Security forces in Iran have blocked main routes leading to historic Pasargadi, the site of Cyrus the Great's tomb, in anticipation of spontaneous gatherings of people to mark the annual commemoration of the first king of the ancient Persian Achaemenid Empire. In recent years, as Iranians have tried to visit the ancient tomb celebrating Cyrus the Great Day, Islamic security forces have closed roads and established a strong presence to deter people to go to the site of Cyrus the Great tombs. In 2016, a large crowd spontaneously congregated around the tomb and chanted slogans in support of monarchy and national values versus the Islamic regime. In subsequent years, Islamic authorities tried to prevent gatherings. Yesterday, in honor of Cyrus the Great, the Iranian monarchist of Vienna, while carrying the legitimate lion and sun flag and the images of Iranian emperors and shahs, have celebrated his birthday. Let's have a look at some parts of the celebration together.
Greetings from Vienna, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to celebrate the day of Cyrus the Great, the first king of Iran. He was the one who issued the Declaration of Human Rights 2,500 years ago.
درود به همه هم‌میهنان. شاد باش روز بزرگ کوروش بزرگ پدر ایران زمین به همه شما. ما هم از وین اتریش همگام با شما این روز رو گرامی داشتیم.
من کوروش، شاه جهان، شاه دادگر، آنگاه که بدون جنگ و پیکار وارد بابل شدم، همه مردم بابل گام‌های مرا با شادمانی پذیرا شدند. ارتش بزرگ من به آرامی وارد بابل شد. نگذاشتم رنج و آزاری به مردم این شهر و این سرزمین وارد آید. من برای صلح کوشیدم. من بردهداری را برانداختم، به بدبختی‌های آنان پایان دادم.
And that was all for today. I'm Kate, and thank you for the privilege of your time.